Welcome to the Big Success Show. Today, 2 things to reflect on when setting goals.
Big Success with the Professor and Mary-Lynn.
Here we are, Mary-Lynn, the end of one year. Oh, boy. The end of one year.
I can't believe it's here already.
2021. And the beginning of a new one, 2022. Part of the cycle of life. One year winds down just as another one revs up. It's an exciting time of year. We get a fresh start, another chance. And let's hope that 2022 is better than 2021/2020. Right? Hi, I'm George Kruger, a.k.a. the Professor.
And I'm Mary-Lynn. And to make the most of the new year, take some time now to reflect. That's a common phrase with an uncommon challenge. To reflect is to carefully consider.
Yeah, but the problem is when we set goals, we often don't carefully consider the big, important things.
And that's big with 2 G's. Yeah, we focus on the small without relating to the big.
And that's big with 2 G's.
Well, let's pull out the professor's whiteboard for 2 things to reflect on when setting goals.
I'm reflecting on how to tidy up this closet, Mary-Lynn.
Well, I certainly hope so. We've had a year of this.
Yes.
Okay, so 2 things to reflect on when setting goals for the new year. Number 1, reflect upon the past year. So one definition of reflection is a careful reconsideration of past choices, actions, and events. So think about the past year.
Yeah, what decisions made the greatest impact on your life? What lessons can you take away from that?
And so when we're reflecting, we're looking at the decisions that were good and the ones that were bad.
Absolutely. And the thing to understand here is we're ranking them not really bad or good, but impact.
Okay.
You know, what kind of impact did they have? Because the ones with the biggest impact is where probably the greatest lessons are to be learned.
And also think about the people in your life when you're doing this reflecting.
Yep.
So think about your family, old friends, new friends, co-workers.
Who can you get rid of in your life? That's the question Mary-Lynn's asking
You're
right
not
now.
looking at me, are you?
Okay, we jest. What you want to ask is, what will you do next year to strengthen these relationships, your most valuable relationships? How will you meet new people? You know, as time goes by, it's important to continue refreshing that relationship pool.
Yeah, and I know that we laughed about it, but there are some people that you should probably just kind of shuffle on out because they're not bringing anything to the table. They're not healthy. Do away with the old so you can bring in the new, right?
And you're looking at me saying he's definitely old, right? But the thing is, there to understand, you know, there's this thing bantered about the 5 people you spend the most time with. You're probably going to be a lot like them. So think about people that emulate what you want to be, and keep your eye on them. Build your relationship with them.
Also, as you're reflecting on the past year, think about the places in your life, your work, your home, your community.
What did you do to improve these places this year?
As you're thinking back, what made you happiest this year?
How can you incorporate more moments like that in the year to come?
What made you sad?
Was it something you could control? Is there a lesson you can bring to the coming year?
Are you proud of what you accomplished this year?
And as you think of that, what was your greatest triumph? What lessons can you learn from that? What was your biggest disappointment? What did it teach you?
Are you a better person now than you were at the beginning of the year?
If so, congratulations. Applause. Take a moment to give yourself a pat on the back. Now, if you don't feel like you're a better person now, if you don't feel like you've really improved significantly, why not? What will you do in the coming year to make sure that you grow?
So that we can party next year. I just like that sound.
It's just all about.
I'm getting ready for New Year's Eve.
It's just all about the party, isn't it, Mary-Lynn?
If I can stay awake long enough. There's half of that. Okay, so that takes care of number 1, and that was reflecting upon the past year. So now, the next thing you need to reflect on when setting goals is to reflect on the coming year. Another definition of reflection is an idea that results from careful consideration.
Yeah, what big ideas, and that's big with 2 G's, what big ideas do you have? What are you doing about them?
What thoughts flow from the lessons you learned last year? And what are you doing with your newfound knowledge this year?
What are your goals for this coming year? How will you track them to be sure you're on track? How do these goals fit your long-term vision for yourself?
What will you do to feed your mind and your spirit, besides checking out Big Success regularly, of course?
Nice shameless plug there, Mary-Lynn. How do you plan to maintain balance in your life? Boy, this is so important, isn't it? I mean, this is something we struggle with for sure. What will you give to those who you care about? How will you advance in your career? What will you do for an escape? When will you do it? Get it on the calendar.
Boy, that's a lot of questions.
It is.
But we're reflecting on the coming year. How will you define success on December 31st of next year? What will you do to make that happen?
Answer that question, work that answer, and the new year will bring you big success.
So let's review 2 things that you need to reflect on when setting goals. Reflect on the past year, a careful reconsideration of your past choices, actions, and events, and then also reflect on the coming year to prepare yourself for what lies ahead.
So out of these 2 reflections, we see a simple 3-step process for setting goals. First, begin by extracting all the lessons that you can from the past year. Second, continue by setting expectations for the year ahead. And third, finally, get going for your goals. They will take you to big success.
Want to find your purpose in life? Take some time to reflect with our free life purpose quiz. You'll find it at Big Success. That's big with 2 G's, success.com.
And we thank you so much for listening today. We'd also like to send a special shout out to our listeners in New York City, New York. The big ball's dropping there. You know, usually dropping the ball is a bad thing, right? In business, we always think, oh, he dropped the ball or she dropped the ball. Well, right now, the ball is getting ready to drop, right? It's dropping here in a couple days, and that's a good thing. So, salute, New York City.
Thank you for listening. And, you know, a lot of people are ditching their jobs to start a business.
Yes.
It's really hot right now. So next week, we're going to share 3 opportunities that people often miss when they start a business. You don't want to miss those opportunities, which means you don't want to miss next week's show.
That's a lot of missing, Mary-Lynn.
I know. Until next time,
here's to your big success.
Find big success at BIGGsuccess.com.